I request our ambassador, Her Excellency Mrs. Suchitra Durai, to kindly make her remarks on the occasion.
Most Venerable Phra Anil Sakya ji, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, Namaskar, good evening, Sawadika. It is very good to be here back at the Swami Vivekananda Cultural Center for a physical event, especially on an auspicious occasion like the Vesak Day. This is an occasion which strongly binds India and Thailand and all people in this region. And yet, Vesak Day cannot just be a ritual event. It is in fact an opportunity for us to introspect and to dwell upon the core teachings of Buddhism. That is why the title of today's event, which is Dharmic Development, Sustainable Development, is so apt. Everyone in Thailand, not just the Buddhists, we are all familiar with the Four Noble Truths. Very simply put, they are human suffering, the cause of human suffering, that is desire, the cessation of suffering through the removal of desire, the path for attaining liberation, which is the Eightfold Path, which is right view, the right thought, right speech, right action, right livelihood, right effort, right mindfulness, right concentration. Now, in our contemporary day-to-day life, since the Industrial Revolution began, development has mainly focused on economic progress, particularly the material aspects. And this is seen through the lens of consumption, production, industrial growth, and technological advancement. So the general sense is that the greater the consumption, the better for society, meaning more is better. This leads, of course, to a huge depletion of resources, wastage, as well as tremendous inequalities in society. So, these are some of the aspects which, of course, Buddhism looks at very carefully, including the principle of simplicity. It teaches you that you should lead a less ostentatious life. It is not denial. The middle path is always most relevant. The principle of non-violence, again, is extremely important, not only in terms of how we treat other humans or animals, but all living beings, including trees and plants. And it is also important that this practice of non-violence is also translated into the non-violence of thought, not just action. And then, of course, there is the principle of natural resources conservation. Thus, this movement, which is also there at the same time, of a conscious desire to move into organic farming, to eat local, not just global products, to, of course, re-emphasize the entire tradition of recycling and reuse, which is there in many traditional societies, and wearing, of course, climate-friendly clothes, as well as in architectural design, the whole concept of climate friendliness and green technologies is being re-emphasized. Here in Thailand itself, the sufficiency economy model, which was initiated by the late King, His Majesty King Rama IX, was a practical model of Buddhist concepts which were based on self-reliance, contentment, moderation, and the middle path. The word self-sufficiency in this concept means that having enough to live on and to live for, as well as being satisfied with what one has. Mahatma Gandhi had similarly suggested in his philosophy and emphasized the principles of self-reliance, ethics, moderation as a sustainability concept, and which stems from the inner spirit. Gandhiji believed that the world has enough for everyone's needs, but not, of course, enough for everyone's greed. As a nation, we Indians are proud of our long history and our tradition to respect and coexist harmoniously with nature. This is what the concept of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, or the world is one family, refers to. Of course, today you're coming to listen to the most Venerable Anil Sakya ji, so I will stop now, and I look forward to listening to your wise words, and thank you.
Thank you, Venerable. Most Venerable Phra Anil Sakya ji is the Honorary Rector of the World Buddhist University and Rector of Foreign Affairs, Mahamukut University. Today he will speak on Dharmic development, sustainable development. I would like to request Most Venerable Phra Anil Sakya ji to please come forward and address the gathering.
Your Excellency, Director of the SBCC, and all who are interested in this special event which SBCC has organized in memory and celebration of what we call Vesak Day, or Vesak Purnima. Well, when we think of Vesak Purnima, or Vesak Day as internationally known, it is very simple. In fact, means it is a day we look at as a full moon based on the what you call this constellation of a Vesak constellation. So that very full moon day, the very day of Vesak is accordingly named because it was a full moon day of the Vesak month. And Vesak month is named after the constellations called Visakha. And based on the Buddhist legend, most of the Buddhists believe that it was the day when Buddha was born as a Prince Siddhartha. Then, after 35 years of his birth, then he was enlightened, which I prefer to use even the word awakening more than the word enlightenment. Means he became a bodhi, he became awakened to the truth of this natural truth of the world, and then become the Buddha. When we say the Buddha, Buddha is another human. Buddha is a quality, I would say. So when he became a Buddha, it means that the Prince Siddhartha, he transformed himself to be the knower, who transformed himself to be someone who can really pinpoint and realize the ultimate truth, the worldly truth, and all those truths. So that is what essentially means Buddha, and it was happened on the Vesak day, or Buddha Purnima day. Then after, when he was another 45 years later, when he was 80, his body get frail, get old, and finally, again it says that it falls on the same day as a Vesak full moon day that he reached parinirvana or he passed away, or Mahaparinirvana, which doesn't mean that a parinirvana means that nirvana. You can take it in a two different, an analogy. Nirvana as who died, and as well as nirvana means a vana, which is piercing the heart in your heart or in your mind, is vanished, is finished. So in a way that it is an end of suffering at all. So you can take it as normally as a physical death, or it is a kind of a mental, you can continue mental formation or whatever you want to form. Because it is just like a lamp here, nirvana, basically means that when you lit the lamp, this candle here, before we lit it, it was a wax, it was a, whatever you call it, which is a lighting, and then suddenly we matches with the heat with another candle, and suddenly when it light, the heat appear, the ray appear, the light appear, and so and so. But when it's in nirvana, it means that there is no cause, there is no mechanism which can fix and then light this light. So let's say that we have a match. So it was a match in the match way. We have a candle, wax as a what do you call it? Sari. What is it in English? The one with light, the cotton.
Yeah, the wick.
Wick, sorry. The wick is wick. So if it is separated, there is no fixation, it won't light. So whole idea of nirvana at that very moment is that he destroyed the whole mechanism of fixation, so that there is nothing which can light his mind, and then become a greed, anger, hatred, and so on. So that is the whole idea of nirvana. But when he was 80, it was a nirvana, as not only is a mental nirvana, but his body also fell frail, and they just died just as a normal human being. So that is an incident called Vesak Purnima. So in that Vesak Purnima, it is celebrated from the time of the Buddha, and then it has been celebrating since 2,600 years, I guess, because if you go back in the history, look at Sri Lanka, or sometime even India, even in Nepal, in so many ways, there's this kind of celebration has been continuing and stopping in time to time. But in Thailand, if you see in Thailand, since the Sukhothai period, it has been the celebration which has been continually celebrated. If you go to the Korea, for example, there is what we call this in Korea, they have a day which they go to the procession all over the country. And it is, UNESCO has been kind of registered and recognized as one kind of a ceremony which has been the oldest ceremony in the world. It's a non-stop oldest ceremony in the world. So this is the whole day Vesak we are talking about. And it was full moon day, which was on the 15th in Thailand, which was on the 16th in Nepal and India, because of I guess that the moon is, I guess it is working slow or why. So it's become from Thailand to India, it takes 1 day. Oh, this is a calculation, wrong calculation. So whatever. Then, in that very moment of Vesak, what generally do is that as a part of rituals, we go to the temple, we listen to the sermon, we do the bhajan in some of the part of the countries, we do the procession. If you go to Sri Lanka, they have a pendant, they have the kind of exhibition of the life of the Buddha in a different light way, and different country has a different way of celebration. But after all, those are just what I call this initiation, ignition. It is just kind of a way to kind of bringing things together in order to go to the core heart of what Buddha meant by that. So I said that what is Vesak? Vesak is basically, I would say that it is the day Buddha was born. It means that some kind of a knowledge is appeared. What they call it, that is a Buddha, or that is a Bodhi. But sometimes don't understood as a Buddha. But there's a big difference between Buddha and Buddha. You see? And sometimes when you miss your lane, you instead of becoming Buddha, you become Buddha instead. So in the name of the Buddha, there are so many Buddha at the same time these days. So when said Buddha means that the appearance of a certain knowledge, certain understanding, certain intellectual, that is the appearance of the Buddha. And these days, as a modern world, we are kind of summarizing the Buddha's teaching in one word, if you want. That is, when Buddha passed away at his late birth, he used a word called appamada, that is called become mindfulness. So if you look at this modern world in the West, mindfulness become the most sacred mantra of this century, I guess. So everything is mantra, everything is mindfulness and mindfulness and mindfulness. So Buddha, so I would say that Buddha equal to mindfulness. And when we say that Buddha's enlightenment, or Buddha's awakening what? Awakening the truth, ultimate truth. What is the ultimate truth? Dharma. What we call Dharma. Dharma is, in fact, in Indian and Nepalese or other language, maybe it just means a religion. But whole idea of the Dharma is a natural truth. It can be anything. Christian Dharma, Sikh Dharma, Hindu Dharma. So Dharma just means the truth. Truth or whose truth, it depends on. But when we say Buddha's Dharma, it means that the Dharma, the principle, the balance principle actually, Dhara, is a Dharatala, Dharaniya, Dhara, basically means what Dhr. The word root is Dhr, which means upholding. So it means that balancing. So he found, what he realized is that very truth, the very heart of everything in this world is upholding by a different mechanism, different component, and it is holding as it is, it's functioning. So Dharma is a function. Dharma is upholding. Dharma is balance. So that's why I would say that the awakening of the Buddha, the second incident, is equal to Dharma. So we got a Buddha, we got a Dharma, and then when Buddha was passed away, he passed on all his institution, all his teaching to not a single man, but to the Sangha. It's become an era of the community arising. So that's why I would suggest you to look at it from different point of view. Instead of looking at the life of the Buddha, of someone Prince Siddhartha, I would say that is just a kind of a symbol. That is just kind of a simile. But in fact, we are using the Buddha's life as a mirror, as a slide, as a movie to look upon your life, to look on everyone's life. So in the life, there's one Buddhaism happened, the Dharma and the Sangha as a triple chain. So what do we mean by that? We take refuge to the Buddha, the Dharma, Sangha, Buddham Saranam Gacchami, Dhammam Saranam Gacchami, Sangham Saranam Gacchami. And we thought that, oh, Buddham Saranam Gacchami, oh my God, oh my Buddha, come and help me. If you have in a distress, if you have something for problem, oh Buddha, you go to some images and go and pray. How can he come? He will never reborn again. He have only destroyed all the components of being reborn. So he can't come and help you. Basically what you're saying that you are asking your own intellectual to guide your way of living, way of life, Buddha. So if we understand as a Buddha is a mindfulness, as intellectual, Dharma, intellectual, or knowing, understanding what? Dharma, the principle of balance. So everything is working, is functioning because it is in balance. If I have this clicker here, yeah, it is. If I click it, it's working. It's a function. It's a Dharma. So if it fail and then break down, I click it, doesn't work. It becomes a Dharma. it's not functioning. You see? So where the dharma is that understanding principle and for what? To live in the sangha, to live in the community. So basically, Vesak Day, I would put in different way. It is the importance of the Buddha Dharma Sangha Tripartite, which we always pray, chant, and all those things. But in reality, it is something we are talking about. How do we understand with our cognition? It's our inner us, not only the study, it's only the kind of understanding, but from the inner of yourself, cognitivity, understanding the truth of this balance so that you can live happily with everyone in this community, the Sangha. So that's why Vesak is important. That's why Vesak is not belong to Buddhists at all. That's why Vesak is something we are reminding of how do we survive with others in the society, with more peaceful and happiness as Her Excellency just mentioned, and about so many other teachings. So this is the part of Vesak. Now let's come to the this idea of a topic of the dharmic development and sustainable development. I think what we call dharmic development and sustainable development, you see, look at this, it's the same word. When you think of a sustainable development in Thai, it becomesการพัฒนาที่ยั่งยืน. It doesn't make a single sense. Because พัฒนา development means that it's always changing. And the yang yun means that it's not changing. So you want to change or you don't want to change? I don't know. Not changing, change. What does it mean? Sustainable, they translate as a forever. Sustainable is a long lasting. So if it is always long lasting, so how can you develop it? So develop means that always changing. So what kind of changing it is talking about? So if you know the etymology of this very word, then you will see that this is a sustainable. Sus is a prefix. This tenable is from the tenor in Latin, which means that holding, upholding. And then some kind of a development, which you see, sangdharaniya. Dhara means that upholding, sang means that together, and with. So it means that a kind of a vikas, a kind of development which uphold the reality, the truth of the world. So it means that you can't, during the COVID-19, which in the past 2 years, so it kind of do we have a survey, develop in a certain way as, cause and effect, what was going on. So whatever happened, it is always changing developments. But the changing in the conditions which is allowed us to change. So this is whole idea of sustainable development. So when you look at it, the word dharmic, sangdhara, same word dhara, you see the root is dhara and it's mika. Mika means that with again. And then the dharmic, this is the vikas, development with dharma. So why I am calling this kind of a sustainable development should be translated as a dharmic development, which means that a kind of development which you have a firm ground of the reality, the truth. So that's why if you look at the sustainable development, you will see that it was first used in 1987, and then development that meets the needs of the present without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs. Where is the idea of sustainability is here? There's nothing there. It is kind of a development which doesn't, take too much from our future generation. It's kind of a development where we can live together with nature, together with the society, together with everyone else. It's not kind of taking more than what we should take. So this is a sustainable development. Development is a balance of, as I said, it's tenor, it's a Sanskrit word dhra, which means uphold. So development in balance or development without negative byproductions. So it doesn't mean that a development forever. There's no such thing as development forever. Can be, it's changing forever. So it's not a kind of a development as we always think. Because the whole idea of development is actually destruction. Without destruction, you can't have a development. And that's the whole idea of anicca, the impermanence, the heart of the Buddhist teaching. So that's why if you want to be a real develop, I would suggest it is a dharmic development, sustainable development, dharma, uphold, and then I would say that in the Buddha's awaken in the Vesak Purnima day, when he was 35, the truth he realized, he became the Buddha, and then the essence of his Buddhahood is called middle path. It is called, in the Dharma Chakra Pavatan Sutta, after he realized he became Buddha, the first teaching he gave after the 2-3 months of his enlightenment in the Ashal Purnima, actually. So he gave his gist of what he's enlightened. And what he enlightened was, it is called Dharma Chakra Pavatan. And generally we will translate Dharma Chakra Pavatan, turning the wheel of the Dharma. I don't know what does it mean. And then we slowly see the wheel. And then we slowly see the wheel is going on. So what does it mean? And then we say that is the Dharma. So in a way, say that turning the wheel of Dharma, sometime we will see as a flourishing of the Buddhism. But if you understand the etymology here, it doesn't mean anything like that. It just means that Dharma means that upholding. Chakra, actually chakra in Pali, chakra doesn't mean that the chakra as we see as a wheel. But the chakra, by the word itself, etymology means it's a moving forward with a firm ground. You see? So any kind of development, if you don't have a firm ground, it is not a good development. It is a false development. So that's why, in order to move on, you need to have a firm ground. So even if you have a wheel, you need to have a ground to run through. So therefore, the whole idea of a chakra is that moving forward with a firm ground. And pavatana, a prapatana. What is pavatana? What is pavatana? If I put in for Thai people, for one who know the Thai language, it is a patibat. The same word as a patibat. So it means that it is in action, put into practice. So therefore, when we look at the word Dharma Chakra Pavatana Sutra, or the discourse on what? Discourse on Dharma Chakra Pavatana, sustainable develop in action or sustainable develop in practice. You see? So if you understand the etymology, that is just, I'm telling, doesn't take point of etymology here. If you take a look at the etymology, the whole understanding on the Vesak Puja Day, the Buddha was become a Buddha because he realized, he attained the whole mantra, the whole essence of how do we develop human as us, and then how do we develop, which is the place or the world that where human is surviving or living. So basically, it is a kind of a human development as well as world development. And how do you develop world? It depends on the people who live in the world, in the earth. And again, how you become a human is based on the earth. So it is a vis-a-vis. So it depends on where we, we are today, we work at the center here from Indian Cultural Center. So we have this whole idea of what makes us an Indian, define us as an Indian, because of our way of living, our food, our culture, our way of talking, even physiology, which make us that. So how do you live in India in a way that it doesn't create more damage, more destructions? So in a way that we can carry on our species to the future generation with a more happy and peace. That is all about development, what Buddha was talking about. So therefore, when we talk about the Dharmic development now, look at the Dharmic development. So if we look at the sustainable development here, 17 here. So this is my diagram actually. This is not someone else. So I created this diagram. This is a Kala actually. This is a Kala Deva in Thai literatures. Kala Deva is the god of time. Okay, this is the god of time. Kala. So there's two eyes here. Actually, if you are put it in perfectly, one eye has to be dark, one has to be light, day and night. And if you go to the detail, even the teeth has to be 32, 31 days. Everything is meaning in that different sense. So, but there's no body, there's no food, because the time doesn't stand or doesn't stick. Time is always moving. So you will see that this giant Kala Deva doesn't have feet. And it is eating the world. Do you ever realize that actually the whole problem of frustration, disturbance, suffering, where is the root? The root is time. Time is our enemy. Because we say that Mara, which means that the evil one, when Buddha was enlightened. What is Mara means? Mara means that one who doesn't have a time anymore. End of time is a Mara. Marana again, being dead. Marana means that you don't have time anymore. You're lost of your time. So the whole idea of a death, Buddha sees time as obstructions, as a problem. And that's how we are feeling the suffering. Because we are always thinking of reminiscing our past, this and that. And with that past event, we feel sad, we feel happy, we feel all those things, you see. Your transactions, what you are doing, is targeted by your past. Or you will be in future. Oh, I will do this, I will this program where I'm going to eat my dinner, whatever. So that's it. So finally, you don't appreciate what you are doing now. Because your mind is always going, taking you to the future, putting back in the past. So that's why you never realize the value of here and now. So whole idea of mindfulness, whole idea of the Buddha's idea is that forget about the past. Don't worry about the future. Just appreciate what you are doing now. If you are here, you came all the way from different part of the city, and you are already here, just be yourself. All your baggage of worry, anxiety, leave it outside this hall. And listen, and think thoroughly. Then you will enjoy that. Wow, this is a time I can always think of me and how I'm thinking. You will appreciate what you are having. Not hoping that I should have that, I should have this, I want to have that. No. But you will appreciate what you got. And that is a true happiness. Sukha. Sukha and dukkha. If you know, actually same word. Du is a prefix, which means difficult. Su means also prefix, which means easy or good. Du means bad. So when you say dukkha, kha is a word, kha, which means patient, tolerance. So if it is difficult to stand, I can't stand anymore. And that is become a dukkha, difficult to take it. So if you say take it easy, this program is not going to last long. Just be patient and take it easy. Enjoy it. And that is actually word sukha. So that's why you say that if you ease with the things, you become sukha. And then if it's a dis-ease, that is a dukkha. That's suffering. And this is, when you combine this and ease, what happened? It becomes disease. And then become a problem. Then you need a hospital. Then you need all those things, psychologists and so on. So that's why when you look at this 17 goals and then how you achieve, and Her Excellency just mentions, what Buddha realized on the Vesak Puja day is that how to destroy these all the problems we are always expecting. We want to expect that poverty, there is no poverty. How we define poverty? By money. And is there such thing as a poverty defined by money? So then, as Her Excellency said, that all the material growth become very important because we are measuring through the money. Does it mean that, when I was in the United Nations, I was a think tank, I was debating with the chairman of this SDG committee, and then he gave kind of ideas that let us think how do we achieve the poverty. And in that room, there was all expert on finance, economics, and so many, all different kind of somebody there. But there was one leader, the mad monk, was sitting there. Because who flew over there for a whole night because they sent the ticket. So I was flying business class, and even first class because the UN, a lot of money, I guess. So they are paying me the first class. They sent me the first class ticket. So it was, it's very, and I can't often fly the first class. This was the first class I enjoyed. At the airport, there was a limousine to pick me up. They put me in the hotel and everything. So I went there with a just simple bag, just I carried, because I just flew there just for one day. And then the whole day we are talking about this idea, and then I said that, sorry, everyone is talking about this poverty based on capitalism. Poverty based on all this financial growth, the money. And I was there in a very alien world. So I was there, I don't know, I can't talk about those things because I'm not a rich man. I don't have any. I just went on with I don't have a single penny actually, to be honest. Then I just went on, after listening to them, I can't say anything, so I just sat for meditation. I just closed my eyes and sat. So everyone, with enthusiastically, they said, this is the way to end the poverty, this is the way to end the poverty, this is the way to... Then I just listened, and then the president of the SDG committee, at the time it was, I think it was the ambassador from the Korea at the time. It was a time with the Ban Ki-moon. And he was very famous at the time as the one who doesn't take religion into his consideration. He hates religion. And that is why they invited me. My challenge is that I have to change his mind. This is the only thing. I don't know how. So I was there, and then he suddenly asked that, everyone has spoken. What about Venerable here? Then I said, really? Everyone is spoken. I just always opened my eyes and said that, really? Oh, sorry. Then what I said is that I feel very bad. I feel very, very sorry that I accepted your invitation. I shouldn't come here at all. This is a crowd not belong to me at all. I am very sorry that I accepted the invitation. It was a real kind of a fault in my life. And everyone just got crazy. What? I said that, okay, if you think you can end poverty by your way of means, then I will be very happy, I will congratulate you. But that kind of success, unfortunately, have to go through my corpse, my dead body. Only then you can reach the end of poverty. And everyone asks why. Because I'm a Buddhist monk. I follow the vow of poverty. And then same as many of my Christian priests, they also follow the principle of vow of poverty. I have decided that I will live as poor. Is there a problem with you? So what do you mean by end of poverty? It means that I have to go and find a work, find a job, and earn the money as you do. I asked them, look at my face. And am I creating any problem for you? So I pour my bag in front of everyone. I just made it dramatize the event. I just poured it. Look at me. I don't have a credit card. I don't have a single dollar. I don't have a single penny. Look at my face. Am I suffering? Am I disturbing? Look at all you, all the millionaire here sitting. But your face is always crunching. Look at me, I'm always smiling. So what do you mean by poverty is the problem? Where is the poverty? So if you want to reach that kind of poverty, unfortunately, you have to kill me. And then what right you got to kill me? What right you said that I have to find a job? Then everyone just got it speechless. So I said that, okay, if you are talking about poverty in way of thinking, your mental poverty, I will accept, but not a single money or a monetary poverty. So this is the whole idea of sustainable development, you see. So in order to get there, if you have to divide it, you just have to look at this eightfold noble path, which Her Excellency just mentioned. From the right view, right thought, right also, all the right. Actually, the word right is samma in Pali or Sanskrit, which is not the right actually. Because the right or wrong is a kind of adjective. So it means that a Hindu or Christian cannot follow this because it is a right view. Means that a view have to agree with Buddhism? No. Samma is from the sama. Root is sama. It means that calm. It's matter extinguishing. So what extinguishing? What calming? What? Calming of your mental department, calming from the lower Dvesha and Moha. So that is any kind of view which can calm down your greed, which can calm down your the anger, which can calm down your disillusion. That is the view, right view. The Buddha said, Samma. So same as it's go on the right thought, right or not. So if you put all these 8 noble truth or noble path as what we call a Sila Samadhi Prajna, and as Her Excellency said it that in Thailand, His Majesty King, late His Majesty King Bhumibol, he put it on the way as a sufficiency economy, SEP. So what is S? S, sufficiency means moderation. E, economy, actually, if you have to look at economy, it's another Adam Smith economy. It is an economy, what we call from the etymology, from the oikonomos, from the Greek language, which is that the management of household. So it's a management of your life, you see. And how do you manage your life? By being a mindful meditation. So, and then you'll have a thought on all this intellectual, this will come mental development. So if you put this 8 to Sila Samadhi Prajna, and you will see that Samma Vacha, Samma Kamanta, Samma Ajiva, we can handle all these 7 SDGs or the problem. If you look at the Samadhi as a Samma Vayama, Samma Sati, and Samma Samadhi, you can tackle, you can solve the problem of another 7 SDGs. And then the Prajna or Panya or the philosophy is that Samma Sankappa, and Samma Drishti. Then you can solve the problem of this partnership, all these other 4, well, education and all those things. So basically, what I call this sustainable development is actually, it is the teaching which was realized by Buddha on this very Vesak day. The whole crucial idea of the sustainable development goal. So just to conclude my speech, I think it's already time. So I will just leave you with the 6 minutes clip video. Okay, we said you can go and watch. Actually, it's called Buddhist Path to SDG. I've already uploaded in the YouTube. It's about 6 minutes, which I have just summarized in a more kind of a cartoonized, and then putting the whole idea of Her Excellency about the King Bhumibol, how he came out with this idea of the SDG, SEP, and then how SEP worked as the way to get through the SDGs. So I just put it in a different way. So it is cartoonized, but it doesn't work, a technical problem. So this is not development, you see. This is a distance, okay? So we have to accept that, so we can be happy. So if you know how to live, how to live as it is in flux, in everything is impermanent, then this is what I will call, what we call Vesak separation. So I would like to thank the organizer, the SVCC, the director, who went through a lot of organizing. She had to call me so many times, and then being a very busy monkey monk, jumping around everywhere. So sometimes it's very difficult to get into me, get in touch to me. But however, she tried hard until I was able to set aside my time to come and visit here, which I've never been here. So this is a good opportunity that Her Excellency presided over this event as a International Vesak Day, and then I'm here just to give you a small kind of food for thought, I guess, about what really Vesak meant. Someone who have a devotional idea, you may think as to pray, to respect, to chant, go ahead with that. But if you want something intellectual, listen to my words, investigate what I said, and then you will see that Vesak is a day, at least it is a day where you can investigate your life. And you will know that where are you standing at the moment, and then how do you carry on your rest of your life with the idea of a Dharmic development, Sangdharaniya Vikas, which is the whole idea, the agenda, the goals, international role as a United Nations force us. I don't know whether they force or not, but it looks like they are forcing, but every country have their own clever way to getting around anyway. So they are not going through this real truth, but they have a way to make that they are doing their best in order to achieve the SDG by 2030, which means that only 8 years left. But I guess that after 8 years, they will come up with a new word, and then we should carry on again this message again. But if we are aware of this message, every year we are reminded this message by Vesak Day. And if we can do that, if we can carry on this message and then put into the practice, just as said Dhammacakkappavattana, sustainable development in action. Not only Sangdharaniya Vikas, but Sangdharaniya Vikas in practice. So once you do that, that is a symbol of Buddha Puja. That is a symbol of paying, recollecting the Buddha's virtue and Buddha's teaching. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much for enlightening us. The next segment is a music program. I would like to invite Ms. Aruni Varga for a musical performance of devotional songs. Ms. Aruni Varga has classical music training. She has immersed herself in other genres of music such as Gurbani Kirtan, Ghazal, Bollywood, among others. She will be accompanied by Mr. Ganga Singh Azad on tabla.
Namaskar, good evening, Suchitra, Sawadika. Grab Namaskar, Prathama Sakya, Om Visud. First and foremost, thank you to Her Excellency Madam Suchitra Durai and Ms. Aparna for giving me this opportunity to be part of something so beautifully sacred. I hope through my music, we can all step closer towards enlightenment. As we heard earlier regarding the very concept of enlightenment or awakening, what I will be performing today also conveys the same message. These devotional hymns are telling us that our mentor or our spiritual guide is the one who can lead us towards this enlightenment and finally achieving salvation through which we are free from all circles of life and death. So I hope I can bring you all on this journey with me. Accompanying me on tabla today is Mr. Delva Singh Azad. He is a tabla teacher teaching at Modern International School of Bangkok. And we're very privileged to have him here. Thank you for being here with us. Give a round of applause to him, please.ขออนุญาตแปลบทเพลงเป็นภาษาไทยคร่าวๆนะคะบทเพลง2 บทเพลงที่กำลังจะนำเสนอสู่ท่านกล่าวถึงการกตัญญูรู้คุณของสาวกที่มีต่อครูบาอาจารย์หรือพระศาสดาการฝักใฝ่ในความรู้การแสวงหาและเชื่อกันว่ามีสุรเสียงหนึ่งที่ซ่อนอยู่ในภายในร่างกายมนุษย์เราภายในจิตใจเราซึ่งเราไม่อาจจะได้ยินเสียงนั้นและไม่อาจจะอย่างรู้ได้เพราะฉะนั้นเราถึงต้องบำเพ็ญธรรมะแล้วก็ฝักใฝ่ในการนั่งสมาธิจึงจะไปถึงขั้นนั้นได้แต่แม้กระนั้นก็ตามก็คือต้องเป็นครูบาอาจารย์หรือพระศาสดาที่จะประสิทธิ์ประสานวิชาความรู้นั้นให้แก่เราค่ะก็จะเป็นประมาณนี้ขอเชิญรับฟังนะคะ
Thank you, Ms. Arunji and Shri Ganga Singh ji for this wonderful performance. Now may I request our Ambassador Madam to please felicitate our guest speaker, Most Venerable Phra Anil Sakya ji. May I also request that a token of our respect be given to Venerable Phra Mahathira Sukhum and Venerable Novice Vijoy Baru. May I request Dr. Cheda Chale, Professor at the Faculty of Archaeology, Shilpakon University, to please come forward. Dr. Cheda has been our guest speaker in several webinars and has enriched our knowledge on art and architecture several times.
Thank you.
May I request Ms. Aruni Bagga to please come on stage and receive a token of honor. May I request Shri Ganga Singh Azadji to please come on stage and receive a token of honor. May I request Khun Pujaman to please come forward. SVCC Hindi students had presented a skit on Bharat Darshan at the World Hindi Day celebration held at the Embassy of India, Bangkok. I request our Ambassador Madam to present certificates to the SVCC students who participated. I request the student to come forward as announced the name. Ms. Suvilai. Ms. Vasita Santi Mitra. Ms. Mali. Ms. Yuni Kim. Ms. Kalyani. With this, we come to the end of the evening. We thank the guest speaker, artists and all the distinguished guests for attending the program. We have arranged refreshment and I request everyone to please pick up a snack box while leaving the premises. Thank you. Swadika. Namaste.